Good afternoon, my name is Maximillian de Kment, the CEO of Lovett Estate Agents in Dorset. I'm going to explain to you now why Bournemouth and Poole are going to boom after Covid-19. You're not going to believe me, you're going to think this is a madman. What qualifications has Max de Kment got to come out with such an outrageous comment? Okay, well, the qualifications are quite simple. I started as an estate agent when I was 16. I'm now 53. Do the maths, that's a long time. Over 35 years in the industry with never a break. Never a break because I love my industry, I love my job and profession. What have I done? Well, I did the photocopying and made the teas when I was 16. By the time I was 17, I was a junior negotiator. By the time I was 18, I was already buying properties and renting them out. In fact, I did 3 very quick deals which then gave me £46,000 profit, and I'd started with nothing. And with that I started my first estate agency, which was in Richmond. Many of you will know me from there. The company was called Carrington's Residential. Yes, I was the first estate agent in London to be open 7 days a week. Sounds crazy now, doesn't it? I was open from 7 in the morning till 7 in the evening, 7 days a week. In those days, all the estate agents shut on Saturdays and Sundays. I went from 2 staff to 16 staff in that Richmond office, and in fact expanded to 4 offices within 3 years. It was such a success. So I got that one right. Then I sold the business. Why did I sell it? Because I was the first estate agency in London, first single office estate agency to bank over £1 million in commission in a year out of one office. It was such a success. So I thought, right, August 88, Margaret Thatcher had done the joint tax relief. I predicted that there would be a massive recession. So I thought, right, let's get the business sold. It's so profitable. And then I need to be able to buy property in the 1990s. That's where the real money's going to be made, picking up the bargains. And guess what? Yep, there was a massive recession in the 1990s, and I took great advantage of it. I went from not owning a property, from renting, to owning 89 properties in London at that time. I got that one right. What was the next obstacle to the property market? Well, we'll all remember it, won't we? 2008. There was another recession in the property market. What did I do? I bought more and more. In those days, it was called the credit crunch. The problem with the credit crunch was not the market, but the banks just stopped lending. There was no liquidity. They weren't lending any money, so that's what caused the problems. And in the interim, 20 years ago, I found out about this place called Bournemouth that I'd never been to before. I was playing a tennis match down in Bournemouth, and it got rained off, and I'm in the pavilion waiting for the rain to clear, and I've spotted a flat that only cost £8,000 with a company called House & Sons. In fact, some of you might be watching this video. You'll remember it. It was in a block called Pinelands. It was flat 3.1 Pinelands. I looked around it in amazement, thinking, what on earth can you buy for £8,000? I mean, the cheapest area I covered in those days, I only bought properties around Richmond, Barnes, East Sheen, Twickenham, Teddington, St Margaret's. Cheapest area I really ever bought properties was Kingston. And even a studio flat in Kingston in those days was £160,000. So what can you buy for 8? Well, I viewed it. It was one huge room, 29 feet long and 11 foot wide. Very long and thin. It was obviously an old hotel room that had been made into a studio flat. The shower was grotty, it needed redoing, and it needed a new kitchen. So I said to the salesman, I said, if I put the kitchen and a shower room in, how much can I rent this out for? He said, oh, you'll easily get £50 a week. So I did the math. I thought, wow, £50 a week, let's do the numbers on this. Oh my goodness, I'm only buying it for £8,000. I'm pretty much going to get my money back in a year and a half or 2 years. So I bought it. And then I looked into the market even more. And then I realised what the problem was and where there was going to be the next big boom. And this is it. The Financial Services Act had changed. And it's still the same to this day. You cannot get a mortgage for less than £30,000. You have to borrow £30,000 or more. If you look to borrow less than this, it's called hire purchase. HP. And hire purchase is really expensive. Mortgages at the time were 6%. HP is 25%, 30%. Now, all the flats in Bournemouth, the studios in good condition, were all about 10, 15, 18, 20,000. The one-bedders were 15 to 25. The two-bedders were 25 to 40. Well, they're all unmortgageable, because the minimum mortgage you could take out was 30,000. So I looked at this and I thought, hang on, tenants are paying £500-600 a month rent, but they can't buy the property because it's worth less than 30,000. So as soon as property prices go over 30, the market will explode. Well, why will they explode? Well, it's very simple. The repayments on a £30,000 mortgage is nothing. It's, what, £50 a month? So why would you pay £600 a month rent when you can own it and pay a mortgage of £50 a month? And I got that one right. I went crazy. I bought 430 properties in Bournemouth in the space of 2 years. I thought, I've got to buy every property that I can before the prices explode. And they did. As soon as the prices went over 30,000, they leapt to 60 and 70,000. In fact, that very first studio I bought for £8,000 at Pinelands is now worth 70. I got that one right. Okay, what's going to happen post-Covid? I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on. I've just been reading the newspaper. Knight Frank, big London agency, good reputation. They say the market's going to go down 5-10%. Capital Economics saying 8.5% drop in the next year because of Covid. CEBR, everyone who really listens to these guys, these are the boffins, the Centre for Economics and Business Research. They say they're going to drop 13%. Well, here's the inside track. In Bournemouth and Poole, they are not. I do not believe they're going to. And in fact, during this Covid period, me personally, has expanded my portfolio by 3 properties. And in fact, one of the properties I'm going to convert into 5 flats. So I'm actually going to end up with 8 more units post-Covid, and I'm still looking to buy more, because there are some people out there who are being scaremongered into selling properties cheap. So I do not believe property prices are going to drop, so I'm good for my word, and I'm practicing what I preach. And this is where I'm coming from. It is cheaper in Bournemouth still to buy a property on a mortgage than it is to rent it. I'll give you an example. Boscombe, an area of Bournemouth. You can buy a property there for £100,000. Lovett estate agents have got lots on their books. It'll typically be a really good top of the notch studio, and actually a pretty good one-bedder. The top one-bedders might be a little bit more, but you'll definitely get a one-bedroom flat for that, or you'll get a scruffy two-bedroom one. Okay, typical rent for this type of property, £600 to £700 a month. If you get £100,000 on a mortgage with a good credit rating, it costs you £106 a month on the mortgage. That's on an interest-only mortgage over 25 years. So, okay, do you want to have the risk of being a tenant and your landlord possibly kicking you out at any time and paying him £600-700 a month when you can actually own that flat, have complete security, no one can kick you out, and your mortgage is only going to cost you £106 a month? Now, that figure I gave you sounds fantastic, and it is fantastic if you've got a superb credit rating and a bit of a deposit. But if you're a first-time buyer without much of a deposit and not great credit, the maximum is going to cost you is about £350 a month, which is still miles cheaper than the £600 rent you'll be paying. So that is why the property price is going to stay strong in Bournemouth. The next reason is Bournemouth and Poole are the UK #1 holiday destination. So what's everyone going to do? Are they actually going to jump on planes now? I very much doubt it. Virgin are laying off all their staff. BA are laying off all their staff. The planes that are going to be flying are going to have social distancing. So do you actually want to sit on a plane with some cardboard boxes and cargo in between you and your daughter and you and your wife? Don't think so. And also, do you actually want to be on a plane where the air conditioning system will give you all the same bug that everyone else has got? I don't think people are going to be doing as many foreign holidays as they used to. So they're going to holiday in the UK. And hey, Bournemouth's got 11 miles of sandy beaches, it's got the New Forest, it's the UK #1 place for holiday, so of course Bournemouth is going to rock back and bounce back hard. Better and bigger than it's ever been due to people not going abroad but choosing to come here. 80% of the income of Bournemouth and Poole is tourism. So this area is going to absolutely bounce back and take off. So if you want to invest wisely, this is the place to bring your buck. If you've got any queries or you want to speak to me any further, email me at maxsuccess. Yeah, I know, it sounds like a joke, but it's true. maxsuccess@hotmail.co.uk.